The nearly famous Barry Young Show. It's Wine and Cheeseburger Friday and unscreened callers. Friday morning beginning at 7:06 on KFYI.
Miss America.
Oh, nice. Okay, not quite yet, but I'm telling you, don't be. We're going to say we knew her when. Joining me in studio is Danielle McBurnett, correct?
That is
Your
so
friends call
kind.
you Danny?
Yeah, I go by Danny.
Now, we met each other actually a couple of years ago in an organization we both were a part
Right.
of. And we were impressed with you then because of the accomplishment. I'm sure you probably are over all of this, but I just want to kind of catch everybody up because the impression people have of women in pageants isn't necessarily one of a high intellect.
Right.
And that's not always unfair because we've heard some pretty crazy answers from contestants.
I agree.
But you graduated from college young, and you actually graduated with your master's in nursing when you were 18.
That's correct.
Because when you graduated with your nursing degree, they didn't know if you were even old enough to practice as a nurse, so you went back and got your master's.
Right. And I was. ASU actually had to check into the legality of me becoming a nurse practitioner.
So how old are you now?
I'm 20.
So you're 20 now. You work as a nurse.
Yes, a pediatric nurse practitioner.
Wow. I mean, that really is an accomplishment. I mean, you have to be proud of yourself for that, right?
Well, I just feel completely blessed to be where I am today. And so that's why I'm working as a nurse practitioner, and that's why I'm involved in the Miss America organization, especially here in Arizona.
And so you're wearing your crown today, and you are Miss Maricopa County, and you will be competing for the Miss Arizona pageant.
June 23rd.
Okay, so and you have to help catch me up on this. All contestants, do they have a platform? Do you have a platform?
Right. Within the Miss America organization, all the young ladies have a platform. So my platform is about inspiring victory in the lives of children fighting chronic illnesses.
Okay. Now, so for you then, being a nurse, that's an obvious...
Right. I work with children every day that struggle with life-threatening illnesses, so I'm passionate about helping them overcome their circumstances to a place of victory.
Okay, so I handed you a story, has nothing to do with your platform, but it has everything to do with where you are and who you are, because I met you, I think you were 18 when I met you.
I think that sounds right.
You were 18.
You were on the morning show, and I just have to say I like this time slot a lot better.
I do too. Believe me, I like this much better. But we were so impressed when we met you with where your life was headed and the things you were doing, and the fact that you're not resting on accomplishments. It's like you're still trying to achieve things. Here's a story about high school girls focused on a dress code, and they are now protesting the dress code in a school in New York, and they are having something called Slutty Wednesday. Now, I'm sorry I'm laughing. To me, that's a little funny. But when you read that story, what's your initial reaction?
Well, my first thought is actually a question. Why do these young women want to be associated with slutty dress clothes? The word slut is degrading in and of itself. So I think someone really needs to communicate with these young women and empower them that school is about education and not simply showing skin.
Okay, so then does it make you want to grab the girls and shake them, or does it make you want to sit them down and have a conversation with them?
No, I definitely don't want to shake them. Clearly, there's a lot of intellect behind being able to lead a whole school into getting on and revolting against a dress code. I just want to educate them that there's a lot greater things, and if they could switch that focus into benefiting their community, they would be learning and benefiting so much more.
Okay, so then what focused you? I mean, because obviously you're unique. I mean, you're used to that by now. I mean, you were in college as a young teenager. You were in with college students. And obviously the master's program at 18, you were always the kind of the unique one for being as young as you were. What kept you, or what were you just naturally smarter than everyone else as a kid?
No, not at all. Not at all. I feel like I had wonderful parents that definitely helped me in a very supportive environment. But I knew as a young child that I wanted to give back to my community. I had purpose. I wanted to be a nurse. And I didn't want anything to stop me from doing that, whether I was 12 years old or not. It didn't matter to me. I knew what I wanted to do. And so I went out and I did it.
So, but how much did because you had a pretty serious injury. You had a snowmobile accident.
Right.
I mean, when I say a fairly serious injury, it was a serious injury.
I lacerated my kidney, and at the time I was with my boyfriend who broke his back and his face. So this happened in March, and I learned so much more about the determination I talk about, because I have to tell you, laying in bed in the hospital and thinking about whether I'd even be able to compete for Miss Arizona or not, and even relating to all my patients who have been through the same thing, I knew for them and for myself that I needed to figure out a way to go ahead and compete for the crown and Miss Arizona.
Oh, so how much did those injuries play a part in your medical career? Because you were already a nurse. But
Right. I was already a pediatric nurse practitioner, so I already took care of children every day. But somehow, when the things that you do to other people all the time are done to you, it just gave me a lot more empathy and understanding for where they're at. And I already understood some, but I learned so much more.
Okay, so then why pageants? Because you've accomplished so many things already in your life, and obviously you're a person that could do anything you wanted. What made you choose Miss Arizona on to hopefully Miss Arizona and Miss America? Why that?
The Miss America organization has been the #1 provider of scholarships for women in America for over 90 years. So the impact that I can have in this position in making my platform of supporting children with chronic illness even more influential and just have wider buy-in. That's why it was important to me to get involved with this organization, because of my platform and just all the other things that this organization stands for.
So then what's different about you? Because you are different. I know it's funny, the impression, and it's not just the impression we have of women in pageants. I mean, you truly are different than, because you don't strike me as a person that needs a crown or a pageant to feel like you've succeeded.
No, I don't live for the status quo. I live for what's placed on my heart, and I'm determined to make it happen. So right now, that's Miss Arizona. Maybe someday it's going to be running for Congress. But I live for that determination and fulfilling my calling to the best of my ability. And pageantry is just one way for me to do that through Miss Arizona.
Okay, so if people want to find out, I've got so many questions I want to ask you, and I've got to take a break, but if people want to find out more about you, where can they find? I want people to see more about you, because I'm impressed with what you've accomplished, but I think I like the fact even more that you've accomplished so much, but you're not stopping and saying, all right, I'm 20 and I've done all of this, and now you're going to rest. I mean, you're trying even harder to do more.
There's so much more.
Where do they find you? I want people to find you during the commercial break so that I can ask you some more questions.
That would be great. I'm on Facebook under Miss Maricopa County, Danielle McBurnett. So find me, go to my page, and follow my journey on to becoming Miss Arizona, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so, too, because I got a few more questions about things. And I know you were listening earlier because you were texting me about the relationship between kids and their parents and whether or not it makes a big difference, because that Time Magazine story says it's really not that big of a difference. I want to find out your perspective on that. We'll do that here in just a moment. Don't go away.
The Mike Broomhead Show. News Talk 550 KFYI.
KFYI.com.
Glenn Beck later this evening at 7:06. Mike Broomhead now. News Talk 550 KFYI.
KFYI.com.
Okay. Welcome back. Danielle McBurnett joins me. She is Miss Maricopa County, hoping to be Miss Arizona. I asked you to be here because we know each other, and there are so many things we've talked about today, and I'm so glad you're here. But I mentioned the fact that you don't seem to me to be a standard or the stereotypical pageant contestant. I want you to hear what I mean by this. This is Miss Ohio in the Miss USA pageant. And you're going to hear the question and her answer. And please, if you get the crown of Miss Arizona, don't embarrass us by answering this question.
I promise you that.
Okay, well, wait
Mike.
till you hear it. I want you to hear it.
One step ahead.
Go ahead.
Do you think women are depicted in movies and on television in an accurate and positive way? And please give us an example.
I think it depends on the movie. I think there are some movies that depict women in a very positive role, and then some movies that put them in a little bit more of a negative role, but by the end of the movie they show that woman power that I know we all have, such as the movie Pretty Woman. We had a wonderful, beautiful woman, Julia Roberts, and she was having a rough time, but you know what? She came out on top and she didn't let anybody stay in her path. Thank you.
I like it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, promise me.
I promise.
If they ask you about female role models in your life, that you will not allude to a prostitute. Promise me.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some of the champions.
Okay.
How can a prostitute be called and held up to an accurate and positive role model for women? I have no idea. And this is when I give the disclaimer that this is the Miss America organization I am participating in and not Miss USA with Donald Trump. Now, I know there are great women in that organization too, but I just have to say for the record, I will never answer a prostitute.
So you've been involved in pageants now, and I'm sure you've seen this happen with girls that you thought were you respect intelligent girls, but is it just kind of the spur of the moment, you know you have to give an answer and you just stumble on your words that kind of an answer comes out?
Sure, I've seen that all the time. But a lot of this is just liberal media influence when you have just panels where you know they have more of a liberal leaning and girls are so close to winning that they're willing to compromise their values. And Mike, that's simply just not me.
Okay, and I think that's fair. Now, earlier, you were commenting to me via text message when we were talking about this topic.
Right.
The study that says parental involvement really doesn't make that much of a difference in a child's life. Yours was different because we're not talking about a kid that needed to be kept out of really the bad things, but your life, you didn't have you did have a normal childhood, but in very extraordinary circumstances. How did your parents keep you a normal 15-year-old when you were graduating from college?
Well, I love getting that question because people think that I went to school early and all of a sudden I wasn't involved socially, which I honestly have to laugh at because going to college early and doing all these things has opened so many other doors for me extracurricularly that I've had tons of that in my life. And I mean, my parents are because of them, they've made me who I am today. So I can't have anything but gratitude for what they've done.
And so big influence, mom and dad, both a huge influence in your life.
Definitely. Well, my dad is why I've been listening to you for years, Mike.
See, your dad is a smart man. Your dad is just a wise man. So ultimately, what is have you set kind of a goal for yourself, a long-term goal? What do we expect from you in your life? Because I don't doubt anything you're going to tell me is actually going to happen. What's going to happen with you?
Well, hopefully on June 23rd, I'm going to start by becoming Miss Arizona and going off to Miss America. But regardless of the outcome, I'm going to cherish every single day being a pediatric nurse practitioner and taking care of children in this community. Thinking about going back to school for my PhD in nursing, definitely in the near future. And then hopefully, even beyond that, someday I would like to be a conservative voice in politics in Arizona. So that's what I'm thinking about for now.
And so how far off in the distant future when you talk about politics? Because it's funny, you're 20 years old, but I'm thinking you've done everything else. You might as well run for Congress in a couple of years. I mean, how soon do you think?
I agree. There's nothing stopping me. And quite honestly, I have a lot of fun being a young person with a voice of influence. And I only think that running for political office is going to make my voice stronger and good for the people of Arizona.
State legislature, man, they could use your help. Wow.
I'm coming back for an interview then, Mike, all right?
When you're running, we will help with your campaign. There's no doubt. Thank you so much for coming down this evening.
Well,
it's great to see you. Tell everybody again how to find you on Facebook.
Yes, so I'm on Facebook under Miss Maricopa County, Danielle McBurnett. So find me. They're doing a People's Choice Award right now. So if you could find me and then like my picture, I'd really appreciate it. Right. And that'd be great. Thanks again,
Thanks
Mike.
for coming down. Now, see, I wanted to introduce you to someone who's going to make you feel good about the youth of America. 20 years old. She's already talking about getting her PhD. I can barely spell PhD. Thanks for being here this evening. Tomorrow on the show is the big Friday edition. We're going to close out the week in style. Day 2 of the Andrew Fontaine suspension. Have a great night. God bless.